we're joined by Andreas Spiegel. He's the Senior Climate Change Advisor at Swiss Re. Andreas, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Francine.
Now, of course, it is a very big challenge for your industry because climate change will have such an impact on the things that you insure. Is this already priced in? Do you have models on how to work on this?
It's actually both. It's an opportunity and it's a risk for us. We see basically that insured losses are going up. At the moment, weather-related insured losses annually amount to up to $40 billion US. At the same time, we see that the intensity of weather-related events, of hurricanes, for instance, are going up as well. So from that perspective, it's a risk that we have to integrate in our pricing. And yes, we're doing that at the moment. We try to quantify certain aspects of climate change and integrate that into our pricing.
Now, Andreas, we're hearing here that talks are actually stalling. This is because of an unnamed source that has been talking to the press coming from China. So we may have a walkout. Now, I know you can't comment on it specifically because you're part of a delegation, so really you have to keep it private. But if we don't get an agreement, how is that going to impact insurers?
If we don't get an agreement, I mean, we delay basically the mitigation of the issue for another year. That basically means we have to adapt. World society has to adapt. So basically we have to rethink how we build, where we build, and to make sure that that our assets remain insurable long term. At the same time, we have to know that adaptation alone won't be sufficient. So mitigation, reduction of emissions is key to keep that into manageable boundaries.
Andreas, now of course, as part of such a large group, Swiss Re, how much revenue are you actually putting into understanding climate change? I mean, is this something that's changed over the last 4 years because you're much more aware and it's essentially also business at the moment?
Well, for us, it's basically a long-term commitment to the topic. We've been active on climate change now for 20 years, so we have a lot of collaborations with university to quantify the risks and integrate it into our models. More and more we see it as a business opportunity as well, because adaptation to climate change is about managing risks long term, and that's our core business basically. So it's both a business opportunity and the risks that we have to manage.
When we speak to a lot of the businesses, certainly in the City of London, a lot of them say, well, yes, it's a PR exercise, you have to look like you're green friendly. But then off the record, a lot of them say, well, you know, guys, we're going through such still hard times because of the recession and everything that we can't really focus on climate change that much. Is this a type of discussion that sometimes you have with certain colleagues?
We do have these type of discussions. It's a bit different for us as climate and weather-related risks are part of our core business. So if something is going to change in that area, it's part of our core business. So for us, it's certainly not a PR exercise. It's part of what we need to make sure and need to manage long term.
Andreas, very quickly in 10 seconds, is your industry just going to become more uncertain because of climate change and the great unknowns?
No, I wouldn't say no. It's under control, so we can manage the risk, we can calculate it, we can deal with it, and we can adapt to it as well.
Andreas, thank you so much for joining us here today.